So we'll hop in. It's great to meet you. Thank you so much for taking a minute out today. I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
So let's begin our journey with the question I always start with, which is COVID. It was such a big deal. It changed our lives 5 years ago. How did you get through the coronavirus era? And how has that subsequently changed the way that you approach things today?
Oh my gosh. So COVID is a very interesting story. Can I tell you just like a few weeks before COVID happened?
Sure, sure.
Um, so my whole story of why I want to coach and speak and help people now is because in 2018, late in 2018, my husband was arrested. Well, now he's my ex-husband, but we taught together, and out of the blue, my world changed overnight because this girl from 19 years prior accused him of sexual assault.
Wow.
So, so our world flipped upside down. So obviously, my ex-husband and I had a lot of issues. And so I filed for divorce at the end of 2019. My oldest son at the time was in eighth grade. So they were sixth and eighth grade when it happened. And so actually he was a freshman at this time because it was a year later. And so he went with his dad because to him, his dad was a hero, like, and which dad should be in kids' eyes. But I just couldn't be around my ex at that time because he'd been without work over a year. He had to go without work for like over 2.5 years before he can get his record expunged and all that. But anyway, so my oldest left. My ex and I taught at the same high school, and our son went to that high school. And so one day, my oldest son came into my office. I'm a high school counselor, and he comes into the office and he said, I really need you. He got his first B in his whole life, and he goes, I need structure, I need discipline, I need to be back with you because at grandma's house, it's a free for all because he's living with his dad and at his Gray was living, well, I don't want to say names, but well, I did. So he was living with his mom. And so they were all living over there. And so I was like, of course, I would love for you to come move back in. I want you with, me and his younger brother for sure. And he said, well, dad has to come too. And I was like, oh, I have to think about this. And this is on February 26th of 2020. And I was like, oh, I have to think about this because we haven't lived together for months now. And I was like, what's best? What's best for my child? What's best for his grades? He just asked if we could just stay together and keep it in the same house till at least he graduates. And so I did what I thought was best for him. So they moved back in on March 1st. Well, COVID hits a couple weeks later.
Yeah.
So we went from not living together, not being around each other at all, and now we're in this house together all the time. And so try to make the most of it at first. But it didn't work. So what I did was just ended up going on like 5-hour walks every night and just kind of separating my life from the house because I didn't want to be there. But I feel like I just lost a lot of time with my kids because I was feeling so separated. And that's what I was doing after the case, anyways. I called myself at the time busy happiness, because I didn't stop performing or functioning. I just stopped feeling. I just kept myself busy and volunteering for whatever I could. And now I'm in COVID and I can't just volunteer for whatever. I mean, I was like PTA president, MAP department head, like you name it. I volunteered for it to keep me busy, to keep my mind off the problem that I have a husband here that can't work. I'm the sole provider. I'm trying to take care of these kids. There was a period where he couldn't be around the kids unless one of our moms were there. I mean, I turned into a single mom financially, emotionally, physically, everything overnight when he was on the news all of a sudden. It wasn't just arrested, he was on the news. So everybody saw it. It was in public. We couldn't hide it. Like, I'd rather him have an affair and we can hide it, but I couldn't even do that. Like, everybody knew what was going on.
Yeah.
So I tried to stay really busy, and then COVID came, and I couldn't stay really busy with outward reach in the community and the school. So then I just avoided life by walking and running all the time. So
Wow.
um, it definitely made a strain on my oldest son and I's relationship. My youngest son would come. It just broke the family. I feel like it was the final part that broke the family.
Wow. Yeah, that's intense because who could have seen any of that come down the pipeline? It could have materialized in a different way, but yeah, you add all of that uncertainty and everything we were living through at the time. That's crazy.
Well, his trial was supposed to happen March of 2020, but it got canceled because of COVID. So he
Yeah.
took a deal. And the divorce was supposed to be finalized during that time as well. Even though I took him back in, we still could have got a divorce, but we ended up not. Well, we did now. I mean, I waited till Caden's senior year, and that was a whole nother story. But I mean,
Wow.
COVID was, I just couldn't believe it. I was like, how in the world have we been separated and now we're all together? And I
Yeah.
have nowhere to escape to. That's why I felt like I had nowhere to escape to.
Yeah.
And during the whole case, all I wanted to do was escape by helping others and, avoiding the real problem.
So let's get into what you're doing right now today. I'm going to put you in front of a bunch of kids. It's career day. They're 11, 12 years old. One of the kids wants to know what you do for a living. How do you explain that today?
So I'm a high school counselor, and then on the side, coaching and speaking with primarily women my age who've gone through where they're happily ever after and after changed instantly. And it's not just like an ex-husband or a husband cheating on them. I mean, they could be they passing away, a child with cancer, a car accident where now they can't work like they used to, or their spouse can't work, so there's a financial strain. Just when you think you have life mapped out a certain way, and then it just collapses.
Yeah.
So, and my biggest thing, so with the children, if the children are in front of me, I would talk to them about high school counseling, but I would talk to them a lot, just like adults too. I mean, obviously not telling all my story, but, and I don't even tell adults all my stories. Some just already know, but just the whole point, make sure you choose what makes you happy. Like, and not choose like drugs or anything like that.
Mhm.
But a lot of the decisions I felt like I made at the beginning was to make sure everybody else was happy. And I was so worried about people judging me, and I didn't do anything for myself. And so for kids and even my own two children who are now almost 19 and 21, I always say, stick to your core values, make sure you're taking care of yourself. It's not selfish, it's maintenance. Like take care of yourself. Don't worry. Don't feel bad if you tell someone, I got to work out during this time, or I'm going to read a book, or I'm going to do something for myself. And them thinking, well, why are you not catering to me? And always feeling like you have to perform all the time, that it's okay not to. So just choose to do what you want. And if it's job related, as they, classes, and as a high school counselor, a lot of students, I see they take classes because their friends are taking it. I'm like, do you even have any interest in that class? And they're like, no, but my friends, are in there, or, that's where the more popular people, or I'll be more liked, or it's social suicide if I don't do this. But I'm like, but you don't even like it. I
Yeah.
mean, I literally had that conversation with a student not even that long ago. She's like, I hate everything about this, but I have to do it. And I was like, no, you don't. And she said, yes, I do. It's social suicide. You don't understand. And I was like,
Yeah.
but you're going to be so unhappy because you're the one who has to live with, whatever you choose.
Yeah.
Your friends are going to come and go. And that's
Yeah.
what I even learned as an adult. Like I catered to all these people, but they all went home to their families and I went home alone.
Yeah.
And that's when I was like, oh my gosh, I got to do something. My youngest is about to graduate high school and I'm going to be alone. And so I really just want to push people like, do what's going to make you feel fulfilled because you're the only one who's really taking care of yourself. And you're the only thing that you can control. That's another thing I love to talk to students. You can only control yourself. What you can choose, and how you handle what somebody does, that's how you choose to handle it. But you can only control yourself.
So what did you want to be when you were a kid? Let's say when you were, 12, 13 years old, what was your dream job?
A dentist. I want
Okay.
to be a dentist. I even interviewed for dental school. I got into dental school. I was a biology major. I was so excited about dental school, but I couldn't afford it. My dad passed away when I was 18. My mom, I'm the youngest out of five kids, so she was just kind of done. I love her to death. She, great, but she was done. And I didn't really have, and that's really what pushed me into high school counseling because I feel like there was no one there to really help me. Like, how do you do financial aid? And the internet wasn't a thing then.
Yeah.
So it's like, how do you do financial aid? How do you do this? And so that's what I want to help students now. It's like things are possible. We can find a way, and I help guide them so they don't give up on their dreams because they think there's a block that's not really there. You just need guidance how to get through it. So that's what pushed me to be one of the things that pushed me to be a high school counselor. But yeah, I couldn't afford it and I didn't really know how to do, well, I didn't know how to do financial aid. And my brother later goes, why didn't you ask me? And I go, I don't know. I don't know. I didn't. And so I became a teacher. My sister was a teacher already, and she said, just, we need a chemistry teacher at the school. Come teach chemistry. And I was certified in biology and chemistry. And I was like, okay, I guess that's what I'll go do. And then my other brother was like, you're going to want to be on your kid's schedule anyway, so this is perfect for you. So that's what I did, but I wish I would have fought harder for what my passion was at the time in dentistry. I just like everybody with pretty smiles.
Yeah, I get it. So as we talked before we got on here, you're in Dallas, but you have a very defined history in Kansas City. You're from here, and that's where we're at right now. Talk to me about some of the foundational elements of your growing up that lent you to get into education. And what was it like to grow up in Kansas City for you?
Well, Kansas City, I think, was fabulous. And maybe it's because my grandparents were alive, the aunts and uncles, the big Thanksgivings, the big Christmases. When we moved to Texas, it was just two other siblings out of the five and my mom and dad. So it wasn't those huge family get togethers and birthday parties. And my aunt owned a lake house there in Lake Lotawana. So loved
Mhm.
going out there all the time. And so it was just great memories and bonding and family. Education was driven for sure from my grandmother. She would teach me all the time. She did not get a college education, and it was probably the most important thing to her that we all got a college education. And all five kids, actually, we all went to college and got an education even after my dad passed away. We all got it after he passed away. So I know she would be proud. My dad would be proud. My mom got an associate, so she didn't go to a four-year school. It was just really pushed on us that education was really important to go to school. And so that drove me, well, to get into education. Wow, I'm sorry, I'm kind of all over the place.
Yeah.
Feel like my grandmother was the biggest pull, why I loved Kansas City so much, why I loved my childhood so much, and why I always wanted to learn because she always wanted to teach me. So I was real inquisitive about math and science, and that's what I taught, biology, chemistry, algebra one, algebra two. Like I just love problem solving. And so,
So who's been kind of your hero, your inspirational force in this evolution that you've had career-wise?
I would say between my grandmother, even though she passed away, but then my aunt, which was her daughter, my aunt was a school counselor, and she really taught me how important it was to help children as well, guide them to bigger and better things that they don't think are out there. And I definitely could relate to that because I didn't know all the different possibilities as well. I thought I wish I just had someone guiding me. And so I know that was really important. And my aunt really pushed that. And I watched her model that numerous times with not only all of us, but just anybody who was around her. She always had great advice to give. And I wanted to be that person.
So, if you can meet anybody alive on the planet right now, maybe someone that's a survivor, someone that's just been inspirational to you, and you could spend some time with them that might help you on your journey, who would you love to meet and talk to?
Mm. That is a great question. I love Mel Robbins' story.
Yeah,
Her 5-second rule. I love that because my thing is, okay, what am I going to choose today? If I don't get out of bed and go work out, I'm the only person I could be mad at. Like everything is a choice. And so I can't blame others. And so like hers the 5-second rule, and then you just do it. And so I love her inspiration of like you just we're not going to be fine. We're going to be real. And so I'm all about authenticity
yeah.
instead of just being fake. Because I called all my fakeness veneer perfection. I always told everybody, I was like, oh, I lived in a world of veneer perfection. It looked like we were a perfect family, but we weren't. It was
Yeah.
fake, like teeth. And maybe I just associated that with my dental stuff.
Right. Well, we learn from those moments, though. I mean, you got to have magnanimous moments in life to realize the truth. I mean, it happens all the way across the board.
Oh, absolutely. I used to like ask God, like, why did those happen? And then I was like, oh no, every trial I've had has been a blessing.
Yeah.
Every storm I've gone through has made me stronger. And that's what we need. We need truth and not this fake perfection.
Yeah, for sure. I was going to say Lake Lotawana, my stepdaughter at the time during COVID was learning how to drive, and I would take her over there because there was no traffic. And, it's windy.
I was gonna
Uh,
say,
Yeah, and it's awesome to look at. You kind of feel like you're in like a resort area. It's really a cool area over there. So I know those roads very well now, for
Age
sure.
25, that's where she lived, Lake Lottawanna Drive.
Yeah, yeah, it's great over there. So let me ask you this. How, as a high school counselor and as somebody as a coach that has to help people through some things that are tricky and can be dark, how do you protect yourself? And how do you to not only get mired in that, but to do a really good job and to take care of your own soul every day? What's that energy when the alarm clock goes off in the morning?
Oh, my energy when the alarm clock goes off, I get out of bed and I go work out. I was about to say where I go work out, but I don't know if I could do that. But
Yeah.
I go work out because that's the first thing I need is to be energized. I know that I took care of myself and now I can be there to help others, putting the mask on before helping everybody else. So the students, I have to, be more careful with students, but as long as you're being real and just speaking the facts and not getting, personal into my story, just using what they have and give them the best advice possible that would be pretty not too deep with them. Just, basic terms where they would understand if like you're making a choice, decision making, problem solving. With adults, I use more real world examples. With kids, I use examples, just none of personal examples. But with adults, they want to hear that you've been through it too, because then they're going to learn from your wisdom and your experience from it. So I do want them to know I've been there. I've been in their shoes. I've been in the pit. I thought there was no hope, financially, emotionally, physically. I was exhausted. I had to get another job. I worked two jobs after my ex lost his job for years. And so just and volunteering for everything. Like I did everything to avoid the house, but I was exhausted mentally. I mean, I was finally like, I'm just going to die at my desk at work. Like my only purpose in life is to work. So I tell adults exactly, where I've been and how I've got here because I want them. I feel like I wasted 7 years to get here because I was filling my time with busy happiness so much and I never took care of myself. And so I call myself acute trauma therapy. Not therapist, but like do therapy like that because some people just want to live in the storm and they feel like, oh, there's nothing I can do, there's nothing I can do, and or they're filling it with busy happiness like I did and avoiding it. And so then it turns into chronic trauma. And it's just like a chronic disease and it's lingering. And I decided I didn't want that eventually, but I lost a lot of years of my life before something clicked to me. Well, it really took my youngest about to graduate. And I was like, I'm going to be alone. And I built no life for myself. I didn't rebuild my life at all. All I did was avoid real life and make this fake life of looking happy all the time and everything's fine and oh, Karen's so strong, she's so great, look at her, she's just doing everything. If you need anything, just go to Karen. And I realized everybody was going home to their families, everybody's going out and having a life, and I was sitting at a computer all the time. I know I just get sidetracked, but I just feel like it's really important that adults understand that, we've been there. I've been there.
Yeah.
And so they can learn from my experiences and not make it chronic trauma. Keep it acute trauma, make a plan, redefine yourself, make a plan to how to rebuild yourself and redefine yourself, and you define your life. Don't let life define you. And I was letting life define me. I was letting everybody tell me what I was going to do. It was like, okay, okay, and not do anything for myself. I wasn't choosing anything. I was just saying yes to everything.
So at this point in your life, with everything that you've gone through and everything that you've evolved to, if you were to have a dream tonight, you had a big book in your hands and it was the book of your life. And you walked up to an 18-year-old version of you and you gave it to that version of you and said, "This is how your life has turned out so far." Would that young version of you believe it?
Oh gosh, no. Uh, I'm telling you, I had everything in my life. Everything had to be perfect. My kids had matching outfits. We did. I mean, you talk about the ideal perfect family, even though inside the walls we were not perfect. There was always tension somewhere. But I wanted everything to be so perfect. And even my mom said after I hit the news, she was like, out of all the people in the world for this to happen to, I can't believe it happened to you because my image of perfection was shattered all of a sudden. I was more upset that people didn't look at me as perfect than even what Greg was being accused of. I just couldn't believe it. I was like, I feel so exposed. And so 18-year-old me wanted everything perfect as well. And people would only judge me good things. Like no one would have anything negative to talk about me. I've never been anybody's table talk in a bad way or a pity way. And all of a sudden, that's what I was. So 18-year-old me would never even dream that my life would have been the way it is now.
Yeah. So let me ask you this. Of everything that you've accomplished and become at this point in your life, what are you the proudest of?
I'm the proudest, I really am, of how well my two boys, obviously, I'm really proud of them. They're doing, really well and excelling. But for me, myself, I am proud. My school counseling, very respected. I've been in education for 25 years. So people do come to me as not only as a go-to person, which I'm saying no to more, but for advice. And I feel really good at what I can give them, feel strong about that. So I'm very proud of my high school counseling and my boys. And
So,
hopefully to make it, I'm sorry,
yeah,
like
no, no,
coaching
you're
with
good.
more adults. Yeah.
So let me ask you this. Everyone has a perception of you, family, friends, clients, everyone that you know, everyone around you, but you run the show. What's your perception of you? Who do you think you are?
I think I'm real. I mean, now, if you would ask me a year ago, I would say I was fake and just wanted to please everybody else and didn't want anybody to think my life wasn't perfect still. So I did everything to make it look perfect, even though I, say I'm fine. I want to keep the image up for me and my two boys, no matter what. And now I just say I'm real. I'm real, as in I'm going to take time for myself, or this is what I am willing to do, what I'm not willing to do. I am going to make a life for myself, go out with friends, date, whatever I need to do. I'm real with people and I'm not a people pleaser and trying to numb. I want to heal. I have healed now because
Yeah.
I wasn't healing when I was avoiding everything by far. So, yeah.
So let me ask you this. If anyone is curious, they want to reach out, they have questions, they want to hire you, any of the good business, where do they go?
Well, on YouTube and Instagram, it's at Karen's Imperfect Perfect Life because I wanted the image of being perfect all the time. But now I'm just authentic and my life is imperfect because nobody has a perfect life, but that's perfect for me. So Karen's Imperfect Perfect Life is my handle for YouTube and Instagram. And then TikTok, that was actually already taken. And so it's my Imperfect Perfect Life.
Okay, excellent. I will put all these links in the show. It's so great to meet you. Thank you so much for your story. Thank you for your time. Have a great holiday season.
You too. Thank you. I appreciate your time.
You bet. And have a great